Florida airport to be renamed after Trump. X-Files? Trump says he's ordering release of data on UFOs and aliens. Epstein estate agrees to $35 million settlement in victim class action. Iran warns U.S. bases, assets, legitimate targets, if it attacks. Florida lawmakers have approved a bill to rename Palm Beach International Airport after U.S. President Donald Trump. The Republican-led state legislature voted on Thursday to change the airport's name to President Donald J. Trump International Airport. The measure now heads to Governor Ron DeSantis, who is expected to sign it into law. The airport is located just minutes from Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in Palm Beach. Before the change becomes official, the Federal Aviation Administration must also approve the renaming. If finalized, the airport would join a growing list of institutions linked to Trump's name. In December, the board of the Kennedy Center in Washington voted to adopt the name Trump Kennedy Center. Efforts to rename other major sites, including New York's Penn Station and Washington's Dulles International Airport, were previously reported but did not move forward. Separately, the Treasury Department has confirmed that draft designs have been prepared for a commemorative $1 coin featuring Trump's image. Current U.S. law prohibits placing the likeness of a living president on circulating currency. The proposed airport renaming reflects Trump's continued influence in Florida, a state that has become central to his political base. U.S. President Donald Trump says he is directing federal agencies to begin identifying and releasing government files related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump said he has instructed the Secretary of War and other departments to start the process of reviewing and disclosing records connected to unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, and unidentified flying objects. He did not clarify whether classified materials would be made public, but said the release should include any and all relevant information tied to what he described as complex and important matters. Earlier in the day, Trump criticized former President Barack Obama over recent podcast comments in which Obama joked about extraterrestrial life and references to Area 51. Trump claimed Obama disclosed classified information, though he did not specify what details were allegedly sensitive. For his part, Trump said he is uncertain whether aliens exist. There is currently no verified scientific evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth. In recent years, interest in UFOs has grown after the U.S. government reviewed multiple unexplained aerial sightings. A Pentagon report released in March 2024 concluded there was no proof that such phenomena were linked to alien technology, and that many cases were attributed to weather balloons, satellites, or advanced aircraft. The announcement is likely to reignite public debate over long-standing questions about government transparency and unexplained aerial sightings. The estate of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has agreed to pay up to $35 million to settle a class action lawsuit brought by his victims. The agreement was announced in a federal court filing in Manhattan. The lawsuit accused two of Epstein's longtime advisors, his former personal lawyer Darren Indyke and former accountant Richard Kahn, of helping facilitate his sex trafficking of young women and teenage girls. Indyke and Kahn, who serve as co-executors of Epstein's estate, did not admit any wrongdoing as part of the settlement. Their attorneys said they were prepared to fight the claims in court, but chose to settle in order to bring final closure to potential claims against the estate. If approved by a judge, the deal would provide a confidential process for additional victims to seek financial compensation. Epstein's estate has already distributed $121 million through a restitution fund, along with an additional $49 million in separate settlements. Epstein died in a New York jail in August 2019. His death was ruled a suicide. The lawsuit alleged that his advisors helped create a network of corporations and bank accounts that concealed financial activity connected to the abuse. The same law firm representing the victims previously secured $365 million in settlements from J.P. Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank, which were accused of failing to act on warning signs while Epstein was a client. The new settlement marks another major financial resolution in the ongoing legal fallout from Epstein's crimes. Iran has warned that U.S. military bases and assets in the Middle East would become legitimate targets if Washington carries out an attack. The warning came in a letter from Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Said Iravani, addressed to UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and the President of the Security Council. In the letter, Iran accused the United States of making unlawful threats of force. The message followed recent comments by President Donald Trump, who has deployed additional warships and fighter jets to the region and warned Tehran it must reach a nuclear deal within 10 to 15 days or face consequences. Trump has said the U.S. could use British military facilities, including a base in the Indian Ocean, if military action becomes necessary. Iran's UN ambassador described the remarks as a serious risk of military aggression and urged the Security Council to act to prevent escalation. While reaffirming Iran's commitment to diplomacy, the letter warned that if the country is attacked, it will respond decisively. It stated that all U.S. bases, facilities, and assets in the region would be considered legitimate targets in what Iran calls a defensive response. Tensions have risen sharply in recent weeks. Indirect talks between U.S. and Iranian officials were held in Geneva on Tuesday, with both sides describing limited progress. A previous round of diplomacy collapsed last year after Israel launched strikes on Iranian targets, a conflict that briefly drew in the United States. With military forces building up in the region and a deadline now publicly set, the situation remains volatile.